Okay, I think I am turned around here. Hey guys, how we doing today? Welcome to the Thrifty Apprentice Studios. I am currently working on um, getting. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I would have this worked out by now, but it seems that I don't. I caught myself watching a video to get me to the point where the string would be set up right. We see how that worked out. That's not quite right either. So I'm going to be fumbling through it again. And I don't actually take or edit my lives. So when the replay comes through, it's gonna still be kind of messed up, I guess. I've got to figure. I watched a video on YouTube to show me how to turn it landscape, but when I set the stream up that way, it told me I needed to turn it in the opposite direction. So, guys, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know, please. Welcome in. As you can see, I'm struggling again with my hole, trying to get it turned so you guys can see it. I really thought I had it worked out. I really did. That's so unfortunate because I had it set up based on the video that I watched on YouTube where it was turned landscape. But once I started the live, it wanted to go um, vertical again. So I guess this is where we are. I know it's a little irritating, and I really thank you guys for bearing with me. Um, if you can hear me, would you type in the comment section and let me know that you can hear what I'm saying, please? I know it's gonna be a little lag, but okay, guys, we're gonna try to run it like that. Let me go ahead and move this over so that it's a position where you guys can see it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Welcome into my live. Once again, I'm having technical difficulties, but my name is Ken Johnson. I am your thrifty apprentice, and this is this is the second live that I've done. So as you can see, as I was explaining earlier, I'm still having a few technical difficulties with getting the live turned horizontally. I'm gonna go back and watch the videos that I did after the first live to see if I can possibly figure it out again. So we will see. I'm going to eventually get it. I am. I know I will. But we're going to run it vertically. You'll still be able to see everything. So today what I wanted to do with you guys is paint a really, straightforward, easy landscape. It's going to be a sunset I kind of went back and forth. I know when I initially put up the listing for the live, I said, you know, sort of a relaxing sunset. And the closer we got to doing the live, I really wanted to actually change it up a little bit. But we're going to stick to the original plan. But before we jump into painting, what I wanted to do was kind of show you guys some of the papers that I paint on. Simply because I'm a firm believer that, you know, your paper is probably your most important tool. You know, you can have some really okay, mediocre paints, and as long as you have really good paper, you can pull off some pretty good compositions. You just want to make sure that you have a paper that is going to be durable, is going to handle water well, it's going to allow you to layer when you want to layer, lift when you want to lift. It's going to kind of take all of the effects that come along. Because I'm a person that scrapes physical details into my paintings, I typically like a really robust type paper that's going to give me the option to kind of be rough with it and it not tear or resist me. So we are using the Art for Joy's Sake palette by Kristy Rice in today's video. This is going to be my second field test for these paints. Now, the unboxing, swatching, and first demo for this palette is coming out in a video after the live, actually. I think it's scheduled for March 12th. You're going to get to see an unboxing of all the supplies that Kristy sent to the studio for testing. There was a lot of things in that box, let me tell you. So I really have to break it up into several different videos. So the first video will be the unboxing of this palette, the unboxing of the brushes we're going to be using today, the unboxing of her swatching stamp set, which I was trying to remind myself to grab before I started this live. Um, And so those will be the three things unboxed in that video. Plus we'll be doing a painting demo, which you will get to see a glimpse of the painting done in that video today. But you'll have to catch the video that comes out on the 12th if you want to kind of go through the walkthrough of how to get it done. So papers. I really like 100% cotton paper. So there are many different brands out there, and let me be the first to tell you I have learned from experience, just because a brand labels their paper 100% cotton does not necessarily mean that paper is 100% cotton. There have been several quote unquote cotton papers that I have purchased and used and tested and found out that, you know, yeah, this is a really good absorbent cellulose paper. It may have some type of cotton percentage in it, but it was not necessarily 100% cotton. It just didn't perform that way. Now, of course, we know that the, you know, the above all, go all is arch or arches, however you want to pronounce it. That particular paper is kind of like the pinnacle of watercolor painting. It's the one that people will readily suggest to you as being the best watercolor paper or the best watercolor brand. Now, here is what I say. I do not disagree with that. However, I feel like there are other brands out there that are equivalent, work just as well, and is going to give you just as wonderful of a painting experience as you would have if you were using arch slash arches. So here on top is a mini pad. This is 100% cotton. This is actually by Maya Hemi, or Hemi Maya, the Maya company. Unfortunately, you can't really find their papers open stock where you can just buy the pad. Well, I haven't been able to find it, not in the American market anyway. However, if you're purchasing their sets, most times if it's a kit, it'll have a version of their paper in it. Specifically, the Maya 36 count square watercolor set. It comes as a kit with the paints and the paper. Now, I think altogether that kit is about $12 to $14. If for no other reason, I will repurchase that kit because it has this paper in it, and then it gives me a really cute kind of comical, whimsical palette that I can reuse to pan other paints in. Because although the paints in that palette are actually pretty decent to be so cheap, once you wet them and use them, they crack fiercely in the palette, and just thought out it was terrible. I had to go back and do a update video on the review that I did for those paints after discovering that. Next up, we're going to look at New York Central Art Supply. Now, this is a relatively new company to me, but I found out that they've been around for quite a while. It just so happens I discovered them because in the last maybe 2.5 to 3 years, Jerry Autorama acquired this company, which, if I'm not mistaken, based on the history, was about to go out of business. And Jerry bought it as one of their house brands. So it's being sold exclusively through Jerry's now. You can find it online. You can find it on Amazon. But I do believe even if you order it on Amazon, it comes from the Jerry shop, if memory serves me correctly. But this is a 100% cotton watercolor paper as well. It is acid-free, cold press. It has a really decent texture to it. I'm kind of giving you guys a sneak peek again. So this is where I did some swatching for the Month Mark Premium Watercolor Set, which was the Patreon sponsored video that's also coming out really soon. We're going to be doing this sort of really up close perspective landscape in that video. And I was just kind of testing out the flow and things here. I don't know if you guys can see all that. I was just kind of testing out the flow and things here. But this paper has a really, really nice texture. It's absorbent enough to, really get layers on, which you guys know I'm a layered painter. And I really, really, really enjoyed this paper. As a matter of fact, I personally like this paper more than Arches, but that is just me. Now, my go-to student grade paper is a 100% cotton paper by Artwell. Now, most of you guys know, if you watch me for any amount of time, that Artwell is my go-to budget company. I think that their 24 half pan set as well as their 24 tube set are immaculate for the price. You're paying about $23, $24 for the 24 half pans. And the tubes fluctuate in price depending on when you're looking at them on Amazon. You can find like one of those Amazon coupons on it from time to time, and you'll also find that Artwell puts it on sale from time to time. Now, I actually like the tubes more than the half pans, but I think the half pans are really great. I've said it before. Please don't jump on me, but I personally feel that Artwell's 24 half pan is my I prefer it over pretty excellent. Milling's pretty excellent. 36. That's mean. Everybody's not gonna agree with that. But Artwell makes a really good 100% cotton paper. I'm not gonna call it professional quality because there are some aspects of the paper that I think will be improved. With that being said, we this is really, it's better than a cellulose paper. I'm gonna have to keep this turned this way. It's better than a cellulose paper. It's a little bit more absorbent. It takes a little bit more wear and tear. Here you're gonna see swatches for the Art for Joy's Sake palette. This palette, we're gonna be doing all of this in the unboxing video that's coming up on the 12th. But I just kind of want you guys to see the paper. Now it has, I don't know if this texture is imprinted or stamped on it after the paper is made. It almost put me in the mind of the old Artist Loft paper. If anybody is familiar with Master's Touch, not the newest release of products. I said Artist Loft, that's Michael's, I'm sorry. Master's Touch by Hobby Lobby, that's what I'm referring to. That their house brand, I used to actually like their paper. Now this was back during the 2010 and before rendition. If I'm not mistaken, they've changed some of their products, maybe the manufacturer who makes them, and there has been some change in quality. Some things have gotten better, some things have gotten worse from what I understand, but that's sort of the risk you take whenever you're talking about a house brand. And next up is another student grade. Now, this one is a little controversial. I've had some people fight me on this. And when I say fight me, kind of go back and forth about the quality. I'm not sure what anyone else's experience has been, but I've had really good experience with Strathmore paper. I prefer it over Canson, although I use Canson XL on a regular basis. With that being said, I believe that Strathmore 400 series of paper is a much better brand, a much better quality paper than any of Canson's paper. Well, any of Canson's readily available student grade paper. And I also like Strathmore's 500 series, which is 100% cotton. You can find it. It has like a white cover on it. It normally comes in like 8 by 10. It's the only thing I've ever seen it. And I'm trying to see if I can grab a pad right quick, but I'm not sure where it is. I wasn't anticipating that part of the conversation really coming up, so I didn't grab one of those pads. But anyway, Strathmore makes a really good paper. I actually like the watercolor version of the 400 series. I like the pastel version of the 400 series. So I just think it's a really good cellulose all around robust paper that handles a lot of the things I throw at it, like multiple layers, credit card scraping, the back of the brush acrylic type scraping, salt. It handles a lot of things well. So I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse at some of the papers I use on a regular basis. I am going to have a video coming up. Well, I got a lot of videos coming up, right? I am going to have a video coming up where I'm going to kind of, the whole video will be concentrated on watercolor papers specifically. So let's jump into what we're doing today. So I wanted to take you guys through a really easy breezy, kind of like relaxing sunset type of painting. We're going to be doing a field test here on this Making Art for Joy's Sake palette by Kristy Rice. I am working on a review, as I said earlier. I'm trying to see how I can get this set up so you guys will be able to see it now. I haven't cleaned my palette from previous use. I tend to do that when I'm testing, simply because I don't want to waste paint. Uh, and I really love her palettes. Like, the design on her palettes are absolutely amazing. I just happen to have my botanical palette sitting here. And if you guys remember, this is the palette that we filled in the very first live with the what was it, the Paul Rubens Gourmet paints, which I have not started to test yet, simply because I put up a video. I gave you guys the option to vote on a lot of different things I had coming up for review. Although the Gourmet paints did get a few votes, it was outvoted by a lot. I mean, it was outranked by a lot of different products. Believe it or not, the product that got the most votes from that video are the Castle Art metallic pencils. I just thought it was so crazy. But yeah, that's what got the most votes from that video. So that's going to be one of the products I crack open and start testing soon. Here I have the equivalent of, it's a little bit longer than 5 by 7. I want to say it's about 5 by 8, maybe 5 by 9. Let's see, how long is, how big is this paper? It is 7.5. Okay. It is 5.5 by 7.5. That's how big the paper I'm painting on. You can paint on whatever you want, as big or as small as you want. I am using one of Kristy Rice's brush sets. This is the one that has the golden tagline heads. They are an all media brush set. They have really cute little whimsical sayings on the front of them. And from the few paintings I've already done, they actually hold quite a bit of water to be a golden tagline brush, which is really kind of cool. So for our little sunset, I'm going to show you the reference photo that I'm painting from. Now, unfortunately, this is a live, and I'm not sure how to put it up on the screen. But this is a bigger picture found on Unsplash that was cropped out. For me to kind of work on today's painting. So this is kind of the direction we're going in. Of course, you guys know I never really use a reference photo and copy it, because I feel like if that's the case, just take a photo. But I am going to be taking ideas from this in order to get through today's painting. Before I jump into that, I am going to go ahead and check out the comment section really quickly just to see what's going on over there. Guys, if you have a question for me, do keep in mind that I will check the chat periodically throughout the live, and I'll try to answer those questions for you. Let's see. We still a little crooked. All right, let's see here. Hello to everybody. Great. I'm so glad you guys can hear me. Vision Journal image. The Canson visual journal, the watercolor one, the 100, that one is actually really good. I use that quite a bit. Um, I do like the Canson artist mixed media paper as well. It's the one with like the black cover on it. I think it works pretty good. It works really good with like my brush pens and watercolor markers, things that have like those dye-based inks that stain really quickly, like my Jane Davenport mermaid markers. I have some kind of generic branded brush pens here. I think these are Recollections by Michaels. I haven't used these things in years, but they are sitting in the same holder that has my Jane Davenport mermaid markers. So that can't send artists mixed media paperwork so well for that. Um, hey Laura, how you doing, sweetie? Tisa, hey, I'm so glad that you guys came over, and we're gonna get into this. So, you guys may have noticed that there is a logo change, right? So, I've been playing around with logos. In the background, I have been working on getting a lot of things kicked off and underway. One of them was to get an official LLC. Defiant Arts is my baby that has emerged from that, and I went that route, calling it Defiant Arts, simply because I feel like the things I do kind of go against the grain, don't necessarily follow rules. They're very defiant to traditional art. So yeah, and I am hoping to work on some products. I'm not gonna say too much or talk too much, but there are some things that are hopefully going to be happening from this corner of the world that you guys will be happy with. I'm going to go up about a third of the way from the bottom of my paper. I don't need too much foreground. Um, I don't need too much foreground at all. We're going to have some rows of bushes in the front. Things are going to be really silhouetted. This is going to be a really good way to see how these colors mix and blend. So I'm gonna start about there. I'm not sure how even it is. That's where we're going with that. So my palette, oh my goodness, I have got to get this worked out. It is annoying to me. It is so annoying to me. But yeah, they told me to go into the advanced settings and turn it the orientation to horizontal, which I did. But then when the live started and I had the camera turned horizontally, the live wouldn't show up on the screen because it told me I needed to flip the phone around. Like I said, these brushes hold decent amount of water. They have a decent flex to them. It's a lot of spring. A lot of spring in that brush. And that works well to be an all media brush. It seems like I didn't get all of the rest of that block off of there. I mean, the paper off the block, the previous page that I painted on. So I'm just gonna wait a little bit, and I'm gonna get some washes made here. Let me see, I'll bring this on the front of the screen. Unusual color palette. Let's be clear. I don't. It's an unusual color palette for me based on the way that I work. What I like about that is that it forces me outside of my normal box. You guys know that I love painting whimsical things. So, this palette I have discovered forces me into using colors I don't normally use. So I have to think differently when I'm using it. It's just that simple. And I like that challenge. So I want some oranges and reds, and we're going to do a little bit of blue in the sky. So I'm going to start here. And that blue actually has a little green already mixed in it from last night. But I'm going to just mix it around anyway. I'm not going to even attempt. That's actually green. We don't want that. That is phthalo green. I should have cleaned off a little area of the palette, right? Do that here. All right. And I'm going to start with phthalo blue. Now, these have really whimsical names, okay? So this is actually called Flow. but it's definitely phthalo blue. The pigment numbers are printed on the side of the box for this palette. However, they are not pointing to any specific color as to, which one they are. So that's, it's kind of, you see the pigments on the side of the box, but as far as, as to which one is which, because I've been painting for a while, I've actually kind of been able to deduce what pigment I think is in each one of them. But for someone who is an extreme beginner that's into pigment information, um, they may find that a little difficult. However, most extreme beginners, not extreme beginners, are learning about pigments. So, that's the area in which you have a lot of room to just kind of explore and play, especially if you're just doing it for fun. Switching over here to a quarter dagger. I actually like this brush a lot. I'm trying to stay on screen, guys. So I'm just going to start here. I want the washes really wet. And I'm just taking that phthalo blue and wisping it across the paper. Notice that I'm not doing what I normally do, where I concentrate my color at the top and then drag it down. I want this guy to be really hit and miss with the colors in it. You understand what I'm saying? So let's see here. I want some yellow. Let's, okay, so I'm gonna grab this yellow. Now the yellow in this palette is like a neon. I don't know if you can see that. It is a fluorescent, no doubt about that. So I'm going to kill that just a little bit with some of its opposite, which is the purple in the palette. I just want to knock that yellow back some because it is so bright. And then I'm going to whip that in. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to make green in my blue. It's a really, really bright yellow. I'm going to grab a little of the red in the palette. This is called Fierce. If I had to guess, it would be somewhere around a scarlet color. And I'm just going to whisk that into my sky. Now, I'm keeping this light. Keep in mind that the wetter your paper is, the bigger, the darker the color shift is going to be as your paint dries. So, you kind of want to, this is a stage where you're going to have a shift, so you can work those colors in dark and they're going to dry, they're going to shift lighter. They will. I really was hoping that that would kind of blend into an orange. See if I can hit it there. I'm going to drop yellow directly in the middle of that red I have. Now, mind you, this is what Kristy promotes for this palette. She promotes that you play around with the colors, letting them mix on the paper, letting them just kind of do their own things. So I am trying to embrace that so I can make sure that I enjoy the palette the way it was meant to be enjoyed. Let me grab a little bit more of the phthalo blue. Set across the top just so we can get some more definition. This is going to be sort of a pastel-y. And adding in that wet wash of phthalo blue re-wets the paper as well. I do want to keep it as wet as possible as I do the blending. Now, mind you, I want to bring it down past my horizon line, and I'm okay with that. You'll understand later because that's going to all be silhouetted anyway. I just want to make sure that there's no breaks in anything, so I'm going to just bring it on down. Let's go back in. And can you guys see? Hopefully you can see. So, let's see here. I'm going to grab a little bit more of this yellow. I'm going to mix it directly into the red this time. Go ahead and kind of mix up orange here. Now the colors re-wet well. They mix together pretty decently. Some of them are transparent. Oh, that is, let's dab my brush off a little bit. That's more of the orange I was looking for anyway. Blend it in. Just kind of whisking stuff in. I want the sky to kind of be maybe a little tropical. Those colors are definitely going to, I do believe, stain. That phthalo blue properly is already stained. I'm not going to be able to lift out the sun, so I'm going to end up putting it in with the bleed proof. That is pretty light. I really don't want to go in with much heavier color here because I, there we go. I just needed to put some more saturation in it. It was just giving me dead. It was gonna be too much of a color shift. These are things I don't have to worry about dealing with when I'm doing a recording. You know, when you're doing a live, you have to work on the spot. No doubt, that's turning a little green towards the base, so I'm gonna avoid that with my blue moving forward. All right, now I need to. I'm not going to use the yellow by itself anymore. I'm actually going to make sure it's mixed with the red. Giving me an orange before I go in. And my paper is actually drying. This is actually more dry brushing, if the truth be told, towards the top anyway. You can actually see the pigment move as I run the brush across it, which lets you know the paper is a little bit drier than it was before. I'm going to stop fussing around with this guy in just a second anyway. I really shouldn't be fussing, guys. Don't fuss with your sky. They look overworked when you do. But I needed to get more color into that. And we're going to leave it. I'm going to leave it just like that. I'm not going to fuss with it anymore. It's going to work out just fine. It's going to have big silhouetted trees in the front of it. So as a backdrop, I think it's going to look just fine, especially once we get the sun put in above the horizon. Now, I need to dry this really quickly. So I'm going to turn on a hair dryer. Heating tool, whichever you may have. So bear with the noise. I'm going to check the comment section as I do this, and I'm going to try to talk over the hair dryer. If you have a noise problem with, hearing noise, you may want to go ahead and mute whatever you're watching the stream on. Excuse me, until you see the hair dryer go away so that the noise won't bother you. So here we go. So let's check the comment section as I do this. Let's bag up a little bit. Laura, I love the mermaid markers too. I love that Chloe ink. I think you can still maybe get some of them on her website. I'm not sure, but I do believe I was looking on a site and saw that. Tisa, you have thoughts? Okay, so the paper that I'm using today, Laura, is warping. It's on a block, but this is Maya 100% cotton cold pressed acid-free watercolor paper. It's a block. Really decent paper, actually. I'm down to almost the last little bit. Unfortunately, you can't get it open stock. You have to buy it in one of their sets. I typically get it in that 36 square set. It's really economical. It's under $15. I only buy the set for the palette and the paper because the paints crack pretty bad once you use them. The yellow looks neon. The yellow is neon. It's a fluorescent. Daniel Smith. I actually have the Daniel Smith starter set. Um, it's like a 6 color introductory mixing set. And then I ordered 3 additional colors from Jerry's Autorama, but I ordered it in the form of their paint sticks. Um, because I feel like you get just as much, if not more, pigment. They're typically cheaper than the tubes, and you can refill a half pan with them multiple times, just as you can with the tubes. I just feel like you get more bang for your buck with the paint sticks. So, okay, I think that's dry enough for us to continue working. And as you can see, as I was telling you guys earlier, there is a shift. The wetter the paints are, the bigger the shift. But with that being said, let me show you really quickly, because I never opened this pad and I'm into. So the painting that we're going to be doing in the unboxing of that palette, I kind of divided this up into several different things. It's going to be 3 different paintings: a painting in a circle, a painting in a half circle, and then a big painting on the very back of the whole sheet, right? So here is the painting that's done in the unboxing. So as you can see, you can get mass tone. You really can. And I just decided to go really crazy. Of course, you guys, I was following an art lesson by one of my mentors, and pushing those colors was so much fun. Those are actually colorful, rainbowish birch trees. So I was able to achieve a really nice composition. I really enjoyed using this palette to paint that composition. Um, and we're gonna see where we get with this one without me making this video too long. That's why I want to go ahead and get that done now. Pretty much everything else is going to be mixing a dark tone. You guys do your background, do your sky, and whatever colors you want. I'm doing palm trees, sort of as you saw from the reference photo. It's sort of a tropical thing. Now, my colors are not nearly as intense. Number one, this is a picture. I'm pretty sure it's been enhanced. Probably has, what do they call it? Oh, what are they, dynamic? Oh, I forget the filter that they call it. But so those colors are going to look so much saturated on that screen. Now, I really feel like I want to go back in with another pass of color in the sky. But we're gonna I really, really feel like that. I had the paint really wet, and the shift is definitely there. I'm gonna grab this wash, and that's on me. That's definitely on me from not paint. I'm gonna redo this a little bit, guys. Bear with me here. I'm gonna get through this. Promise I am. I just want to put some more saturated color in the sky. And this is also going to let you see sort of glazing ability. So I'm grabbing that phthalo. I'm going to go dark across the top like we normally do. Excuse me. And I'm going to drag that down a little bit. I'm going to go in here and, let's see, clean off a corner of my palette really quickly so I can do some color mixing over here. You guys can't see the mess I'm making. Haha, good. Oh, because if it was turn landscape, you get to see the mess I'm making. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Y'all know I'm silly. Okay, so here I'm going to try to mix this orange really quickly before. Oh, it is so bright. Before my sky dries too much. All right. Bring it down a little bit more towards my horizon. Stop there because I seem to be getting, I don't want to get green. It's just a little bit more tropical to me. I can deal with that a little bit better. I did get sort of a green hue, just a little bit of one. Now that I'm gonna be honest, that neon color, it takes a minute to get used to working with it. It does. I have to keep in mind that this is only my second time really using the palette, and it is definitely one that it's one of those colors that's intense. You don't need a lot of it. A little bit goes a long way. And it does mix to make some really cute colors, which I'm going to show you guys in the unboxing. It mixed to make some really cute colors in that birch tree painting. So I'm going to dry again and check the chat again. And then after that, we're really going to move into making the dark and getting this over with. I don't want to keep you guys too long. Okay. Does this set bring the pigment info? So the pigment info for this set is on the side of the box, but the individual colors are not labeled with the pigment info. Tisa uses paint sticks. Paint sticks are so cool. Or did you like the softer look? I mean, I still wet the paper, so there's still going to be a shift. I just wanted a little bit more color in it. The cooking watercolor by P. I'm gonna have to. You guys be giving me so many artists and channels that I haven't heard of in the live. The last live, I got a lot of different names that I went to check out, and I'm finding so many cool artists out there. I think it's so cool. I agree. Of course, you guys know that Mission Gold has stood the test of being my favorite professional watercolor paint. So yes, Mission Gold is a good step up to a professional paint. I'll give you another one. I haven't done the review on it yet, but Shinhan PWC has quickly moved into almost my favorite professional spot. It is running really neck and neck with Mission Gold for me. I have discovered that I'm a big fan, and I do mean a big fan of Shinhan PWC Extra Fine Watercolor. I'm grabbing a bull clip here because we're getting, you see how that paper, I'm down to the last little bit of the paper, so as I get it wet, the glue is separating, or the heat is making it separate, so. Um, and I'm not gonna stop to tape this down, so I'm gonna make this work. I have to do a little shifting here and there. Let's get this dark mix so we can go ahead and get into this. I'm going to grab the same dagger brush I was working with. I'm using this spot that I had the phthalo blue in, and I'm going to add more phthalo blue there. And I am now using a lot less water. I'm not rinsing. I'm going to grab Dale. Now this Dale is like the burnt sienna of the set. And I'm going to use that to mix into that phthalo blue until I get a color that's similar to the gray I normally use. Now, you guys know I'm a huge Payne's gray fan. I typically mix Prussian blue and burnt umber together from a set in order to get that color that I love so much. If it doesn't already have a Payne's gray in it, or if the Payne gray in it is kind of dull or dead, because they decided to add black to it. Uh, they decided to add a black pigment to it versus just mixing those two colors. All right, let's see here. I need to start with a mountain along the horizon, or it's actually like a row of bushes. It's not necessarily a mountain, so I'm not gonna wet my paper. I am gonna add just a smidget more water to that mixture so that it flows. And I'm just gonna start adding in a tree line, um, bushes, I don't know, it's in the distance. Who knows what it is? Reload my brush. This is why I like a block though. Not having to tape it down, being able to paint all the way directly to the end of the paper. This is really quick, really easy, really beginner friendly. And I'm gonna leave a spot over right there for the sun. So we'll throw the sun in right there as it's going down behind this tree line. Okay. And then we got like two, let's pick up over here. Whatever, come up out over that, over there, make, just give some indications there that there's a bush. Um, okay. And then I need to come down with this. I'm gonna gray this out, adding water to it. It's okay that the blue is under it. And I'm actually going to mix more of that color right now, right into that pan. I'm not using water in between. These are dry cakes. I'm not worried about it. You can clean the extra color off the top if you should happen to contaminate anything. I want to try to keep my color consistent. Okay. And adding water to my brush. And then I'm going to do a row of trees here in the front. It's okay. It'll all make sense till it's over with, as long as everything dries when I need to. You know, as long as everything acts the way I need it to. Okay, here, adding a little bit more color to that just to make sure we get it. And using the tip of that brush maybe to pull up some indications of grass there. This is right up on us in the front, so I got some grasses. I'm not gonna worry about moving that bull clip. We're gonna paint, we're gonna just leave it there for the sake of this painting. It's bringing that ground down in the foreground. That's like shadow grass. It should be much darker. So I'm definitely probably gonna dry and be adding another layer to that. It might be cool to grind it like that. Put some salt in it. I should have had some salt. Do I have some salt somewhere? I don't. Not with me. Not at the moment. It's fine. Okay, so here, just bring it down. I'm not really worried about it's gonna be like emulating that water area, and that little blue showing through actually kind of worked to our advantage. And we'll definitely be adding more definition to that as things dry. Now, I don't know if the sizing on my paper is what's going on right there, but it definitely doesn't want to Maybe I damaged the paper some type of way because the paper itself. All right, that's starting to dry. So I'm gonna give it a second to do its thing. Um, check the comments. Get it just a second, and then we're gonna move back in and start putting the palm trees in between, which is sitting just behind this row. So all of this, once it dries, I'll be darkening, darkening. Why can't I talk? Darkening it. So let's check the comments. We're gonna dry. Let's see. Where were we? We were talking about. Oh, I gotta go back up because I know the comments are moving here. Let's see. Cotton paints are great for beginners. Yes, they are, and for practice. Although the formula for cotton has changed, it's not what it used to be when they were being made, where the professional paints are made. Cotton is now currently made by Phoenix Art Materials, so um, they are still good, though, in my opinion. Um, Pretty much like buying Phoenix paints, and you can normally find Phoenix at a more reasonable price. The Phoenix branded itself. The split primary set is a great way to upgrade. It is that. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I have it here on hand. I think I do. So this is the original Daniel Smith that I started with. This is the artisan material introductory mixing set. So this is my experience. This is how I started with Daniel Smith paints. I really haven't advanced too much beyond these colors. I've added 3 colors, like I said, in the form of paint sticks to that palette. Using my best paints because I made a new palette on economical paper. So we'll see how this goes. Well, Tisa, we're seeing how this goes together. Because as I've said, I've only used the paints once before, and that experience was pretty decent. Uh, Da Vinci split primary. I actually have never used Da Vinci paints. I've never experienced a Da Vinci paint. I've heard so much about them. I've heard that they are really decent professional grade paint. Maybe not as great as all the rest, but I've heard that they're a great entry level, really robust workhorse that works really well. I've seen them recommended a lot. I'd be down to try some of those sticks. Yeah, give them a try. The brushes are good. These brushes, this set that I'm currently using, um, this is the set that, according to the paper, is used. I mean, is definitely suggested for professionals to use. But it's a beginner set, or it works well for beginners because it's a golden Teclon synthetic brush. But I have found that they hold a lot of water. They seem really balanced. It's not too heavy, but it works well with the twists and turns of the way I try to do my hand. I love the fact that the heads are not the standard ones. You're getting like cat's tongue, you're getting daggers, you're getting liners. So you kind of get a different variety. You got the large flat wash. And then there's another set as well, which I haven't used yet, but I'm going to be using in a video coming up really soon. Let's see. PB60. That's nice too. Wait a minute. What did I miss? I skip too much if I'm talking, looking at pigment numbers and don't know what's going on. Let's see. Let's see. That's the paper we talked about Da Vinci. I'm down to try some of the paint sticks. Mission Gold. Love to illustrate. I love illustrations by Pete. Pete is who I'm going to check out. I got that recorded in my head. You want to get more abstract. Ellen Crim Trent. Okay. See, I'm gonna go back and write these names down so I can check all of this out. I want to get master touch brushes today. Laura, listen. I wish we were close to each other so that we could make a date to go get master's touch brushes together. I mean, I swear by them. I do. I don't care what no. I swear by them. I think they are so great. Indiana Throne Blue PB29 forever. Love PB29. Love PB29. One of my favorite ones. PB60. I'm not familiar with it. I do not believe. Okay, so we're talking about the mixing of Payne's Gray, which for me, PP27 and burnt umber. I prefer the burnt umbers that are made from PBR7. I've seen some that are made that have two or three pigments where they have PR101 in them, which, okay, I prefer PBR7. Favorite blue mixed Payne's Gray is PB6. Okay, yes, mine too. PB60 is wonderful. Have you tried mixing it with PR101 Indian Red? And you know, that's what's funny about pigments and the companies that produce these different paints. Because you can have one pigment number that will make up several different colors. Like for instance, just happened now to read about PR101, which like in some sets I've seen PR101 be used in the burnt sienna, be used in the burnt umber, of course, I've seen that pigment labeled Indian red. I've seen it be used in a Venetian red, depending on the company. So it really just depends on how it's formulated with these pigments. And some of the colors are just so beautiful. I haven't tried the Indian red. Let me see. All right, I watch Denise Soden. I like Denise Soden. I like to watch people who paint completely different from me. The reference again? Yes, you can, because I know I'm painting off of the reference. You absolutely can. There we go. I wish it was a way for me to leave it on the screen. Let me see if I can find a way to do that. I mean, I'm going to have to. I think. Okay. And if it should go off, I will turn it back on. Because you know, I'm not going to. Mine is going to be different from the reference, definitely. Okay. My real name. My real name is Kenyatta Johnson. Kenyatta. So think of the country Kenya, Kenya, Kenyatta. Kenyatta. I was named after Jomo Kenyatta, who was the first Democratic elected president to the country of Kenya. There has also been the establishment of Kenyatta University, which is one of the highest accredited universities in that country. So yes, my mother chose to name me over 40 years ago, based on that. So yeah, that's my name. My name is Kenyatta Johnson. So and everyone calls me Ken, which is why you hear me say, "Ken, here your thrifty apprentice." A cheap artist loft brush that I love. You know, artist loft is another. You know, they hit. They're hit and miss. They are so hit and miss. I love the paper. I love the level two watercolor paper, the 140 pound, and I love the level three, which is the professional mixed media. It happens to be the paper that I use to bind that custom portfolio. Do I have it? Did I put it up? Of course I put it up. Of course I put it up. But it's the paper I use to bind a custom portfolio. Uh, you should try Paul Rubens' version. Paul Rubens' version. Paul Rubens makes really good paints, period. Owens Art manufactures really good paints. Because Paul Rubens is just a line made by that factory, along with Mealing or Mealing, whichever you want to call it, which produces the pretty excellent. Owens Art has their own palette called Owens Art with their name stamped on it. So that factory in itself produces absolutely wonderful products. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, their distributor, Lightwish, here in the United States, has started to have products produced by that factory stamped with their branding, Lightwish branding. You can check out the lightwish.com site and you'll find a lot of Elwin's Arts products on there, including Paul Rubens, because they handle the distribution for that factory. And it's really cool. And they are super good, and anything coming out of that factory has been of great quality and is really affordable. I've had my eye on that factory for a minute. I want to be very honest with you. So at some point along this journey, I would like to release a line of products myself, actual painting products, not just accessories. Um, and I would love to be able to work with their factory. They make amazing products. So, okay, we didn't grab it on enough, um, and we are going to. I'm just checking with the back of my hand to see how dry that is. I'm gonna definitely need to mix up some more of the black paint. We're gonna go ahead and get the two trees in. So let's jump into this. I do not want to hold you guys much longer because I can stay on here all day. You know, it's Saturday. My day is free. I said it. I always make sure that the days I have a live schedule, whether it's a YouTube live or a Facebook live. Which, if you are a part of the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook group, Paints, Pencils, Pastels, and Markers, there are live. I've been going live in there. Well, I've done one so far. It was a easy landscape painting. It's at the top of the page, tagged in the feature section, so you can go and check out the first live. I have another one that's gonna be scheduled for this week coming up. I did put up a poll in the group so that you can vote on what day would be more convenient for you for that live. Um, I got some things planned. We're going to actually field a student grade palette. We're going to make or curate the ultimate, I'm saying the ultimate student grade palette, but you know, from the tubes that I have here, let me say it like that, because I don't have every paint in the world. That is just going to be really watery. I feel like I'm trying to add more pigment to it because I don't want to have to do this in a second layer again. All right, there we go. I think that's gonna be plenty dark enough. I'm gonna work the branch out with this dagger. I'm not sure if, and then I'm gonna end up doing some filling in because the water area here, I think I want to add just a touch more blue to it. But first, before I do that, I want the tree. How high do we want it to come? Can y'all still see the reference photo? Good. Because like I said, mine is gonna be different. Coming up in the sky about that far maybe. And I'm gonna go ahead and start throwing the branches for my palm fronds. I'm not gonna get too detailed right now. I'm just throwing in some, just kind of sketching in where I want it to go, and then we're gonna go in and I want it, okay, so my sun is gonna be like in the sky right there going down, so I want this one about here, and it's not gonna be, I'm just throwing some indications in there. I'm gonna switch brushes. Let's go here, and I'm going to grab the number one cat's tongue. Excuse me, throat getting a little scratchy. I'm gonna take a swig of my coffee. You guys, excuse me. It's my coffee cup. It's a cool coffee cup. Love that. It's pretty cool. Yes, I will drink coffee all day long. I'm one of those people. So I'm going in with a dry brush. There is no water on the brush. I want to make sure that I sop up nothing but paint. I'm going to load that up. We'll start with this one. My hands are a little shaky today. That's okay. We are going to fatten it branch. Make it a little bit rounder and bigger towards the top there. And it on down. And I'm going to try my branches off up here better now. Because I'm going to be switching brushes to go in and put in the leaves off the palm. And then we'll see if we need to add another one in, how big and thick it's going to be. All right, I'm going to switch over and grab the number 2 round. Yeah, I'm switching between brushes just because I'm trying to give you guys a glimpse of all of them. And I hope my hand is not in the way when I do this. I've noticed it tends to be a lot. And I'm just going to drag down. And I'm not really being too precise. I just want to give the indication that they're there. Like so. And I know it didn't look, probably didn't look good at first. But that's why I told you, don't worry. That's the great thing about silhouettes. And as you start to fill in, they take on form. So I'm just kind of making just little dashes, right? So like little C's. Yeah, I'm forming a C. So I grab the start at where I want it to come from, and I'm just making a C, sort of a half C. I hope that's making sense. I hope that makes sense. And we're just kind of cover those just a bit on that end. Let's go over to this end. Have maybe some more independent ones coming off before we start getting to the actual branch. And you can be really free with this. Like, have fun. Go crazy. I got them all pointing down. Now, you can come on back on the opposite side of them. Fill it in a little more, make them a little full. I was purposely pointing them all down at that point. But as I get towards the top of my tree, I'm going to actually do both sides just to make it a little more full, right? And let's see, off this side. And just let your hand be free. Just have fun. Just making some marks. And as you can see, I'm sorry if this camera is shaking. I know that's probably very annoying. See if I can lift my hand off my desk a little bit more. And it's gonna fill it in like so. You can have them coming off the top here because they would be coming out of those ones on the top, both sides. And then it makes it look like the tree is full all the way around. Okay, a little weird tree. That's what makes them so great. Doesn't have a plan. If this turns out to be a bust painting, at least I would have had fun with it, right? All right. No, 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 no. I don't know. It's a lie. I can't go back and change it. It's got to come out right the first time. There's no going back. I'm darkening up some things here. Add in a little bit more color, especially around my base. This is gonna give it some shadow and it's gonna make it look fuller. Just darkening up things there. Throwing a little darker needles here. All right, I think I'm gonna call that one good. And I am going to come down. So basically we're using black to paint. Come down the opposite side of this tree because that has actually dried a bit. All right, let's switch our brushes back over because that one's a little too thin for me to do the type of trunk that I want to do. And we're going to bring this trunk down. That tree, these palm trees are different from what I'm used to. I'm gonna work on seeing if I can add some more fronds coming down this way. I'm not used to seeing a tree that way. And as you can see, my painting style is so different from what we're looking at in that picture. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. What was I? I was trying to get this, excuse me for shape. I'm trying to get this darker now. I will tell you what, I will say this. I will say this. And this is not a slight on anything, but I really wish there was an ultramarine blue. Really, really wish. I'm gonna bring that out on the top as we did the first one. Just blow it out a little bit. And start working on some better little branches for our palm leaves here. Although you can add it in with your other brush. Just wanted you guys to see the different brushes in the set. Grabbing the liner and then we're gonna go in and just start flicking in my little curved C's again. Technically I should have painted this one first because I'm right-handed. It would have been better for me to paint moving from left to right, but you know, I'm Ken. Who follows any rules? Who does that? Who in their right mind does that? I don't do that. I don't follow no rules. Follow no rules. Why do I have my paintings come out crazy the way they do? Because I won't follow rules. I had an art instructor of mine tell me one time that they think I go out of my way to not do what I'm asked. You know what? I couldn't disagree with him. That's what's so funny about that. Yeah, this is no masterpiece. No masterpiece at all, but it ain't bad. It's not terrible. I just happened to glance up real quick at that chat, and I saw somebody said that ultramarine is a staple. Truly. But I think the point of this was to have a palette that wasn't traditional. Ooh, I think that was the point. Pretty sure it was actually. Okay. Um, how am I feeling? How am I feeling about this? See, the sky, it worked out okay. The lighter version of the sky worked out a little okay. It really did. Um, let's see. I'm going to trying to figure out where I'm going with this, guys. I'm being honest. Let me see. I'm gonna darken up the right side of that bark. Bark. What do you call that thing? Trunk. Just for dimension. I want to. While we're doing this, let's do this. Like I told you earlier, we want to come back. I was gonna come back and add another layer to that front, so I could get some more color in it, and it could be a better separation of what's in the back. All right, like so. Those will be dark. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. All right. Let's grab. I'm gonna do a comment break in just a second. I'm just putting a little bit more color in my foreground. In my foreground. A little bit more color in my foreground. Do, 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 do. All right. I am actually liking that quite a bit. Yeah. Liking it quite a bit. I need to do something about that water area. It is going to drive me insane. So, let me grab this gray, this black that we've been working with. And I'm going to keep it murky. I'm keeping it murky. I'm just grabbing stuff on the palette randomly. And I'm going to put a little blue in it. Oh, phthalo blue is such an interesting color to me. And we're gonna just work that blue back up into that so we look like we got some water area in there. Just kind of dry brushing that color across the dark that's already down. It's gonna give shadows and it's gonna, I'm working it right up to where I just put that bush line in and then back. And again, I'm really dry brushing here. I'm really dry brushing. Put a little water in that. I don't want to add too much pigment. I just want to bring the color down so it looks like the water is coming up to where that bush line meets. All right. I want to give it a second to do its thing. And then I'm going to check comments while it's going on. And then that should have dried enough for me to be able to go in and finish up everything. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna put more palm fronds towards the bottom of the trees or if I'm just not going to, because I know this live has been going on forever And I think we have gotten to the point where we accomplished a pretty little decent, easy beginner landscape as I promised, although it's not a masterpiece. All right, here we go. Um, we are going to give that a second to dry, and I'm going to check the comments, and then the last round we'll finish that on up. All right, where are we? I'm getting silly at this point. Hello, View. I'm so glad to see you. So glad you made it. Loving it. I'm trying. Oh, y'all guys been chatting up a storm. Let me see. Where did we leave? Where did I leave off at? Laura, she had to drive thousands of miles. Hey, we'll meet in the middle. I don't know. We'll find one somewhere in the middle. Uh, Ruben version. Let me see. Thank you. I love arts, and I'd like to know the name to go with the art. Oh, cool, cool. I had no problem explaining my name. I love my name. I'm gonna tell you another little piece of history, and this is completely off topic. So, for the longest time as a kid growing up, it was hard for me to accept my name because back in the 80s, when the name first kind of became really popular here in America, a lot of African American females were given that name to their little girls. I guess because of the yata part on the end of it. And I do not think that at that time there was a lot of research done into the origin of the name, other than the fact that it kind of popped up on TV and it sounded really cool. Um, so throughout my schooling, my elementary going into my middle schooling, like when you would start like your first day of class and you would be in your homeroom, and I mean you have to be Jen, you have to be my age or older. I don't know if they still do it this way anymore, but you'd be in your homeroom. Your teacher would call the roll, and I would always anticipate it, especially the older I got. She would get down to the J part of the roster, because my last name is Johnson, and then it would finally come time for my name, and she would say Kenyatta Johnson, and I would answer and say here or present. And the looks that I would get because I had a girl's name, it's crazy. Um, and I would go there younger. I would go home and I would cry and I'd tell my mom, "You gave me a girl's, you gave me a girl's name," and she would tell me, "Baby, I promise you, they're all wrong. You don't have the girl name. They all have a boy's name. They just don't know it." Of course, the older I got, I realized that it was used more unisexually here in America. But make no mistake, in the home country of origin, it's typically used as a masculine name. It is more commonly found as a last name, and it's always the first name with dominance and power. So, um, yeah, that's that it took me a long I said all of that to say it took me a long time to get really comfortable as a kid with that name. And of course the older I got and the more I understood and could comprehend, the more comfortable I became, to the point where when people would say something like, "Oh, you have a girl's name," I would educate them. You need to go look that up. You really, there was a time when you had to tell people to go grab the encyclopedia. You don't have to do that anymore, but there was a time. Anywho, she ran her rig in there. Laura, I love you. I do. I actually love all you. And when I say love, I mean I have so much respect for you all's personality, engagement, artistry, because I think that pretty much everybody I deal with is a wonderful artist in their own right. Whether they're a beginner, whether they've been painting for a long time, I see so much talent in the group of people that surrounds me, and it blows my mind. It really, really does. Gourmet coffee. See, Colin, let me tell you, I live by coffee. I'm gonna tell you now, y'all. A couple of my favorites, right? So Maxwell House, which is really, really common, really common. Of course, it's not gourmet. I love Dunkin' Donuts over Starbucks. Shh, don't tell nobody. I like Starbucks, but I prefer Dunkin' Donuts. I know that's so uncommon, but hey, it's Chicago in me. Hey, say what you will. Um, there are some really great coffees out there on the market. There are some really great mom and pop shop that are not like sold in big box stores that I run into on a regular basis that have some really good coffee. And coffee shops are popping up everywhere. I always have a cup of coffee, maybe too much most times. Let's see. I'm going to smell the coffee. We're talking about coffee. As growing up, I used to love the smell of it. I couldn't drink it. My mom wouldn't let me. And I'll never forget the first time I ever tasted coffee. I thought it was disgusting. I was like, what is this? Oh, people drink this? Oh, now I can't live without it. The brush you got has split hairs, Laura. That sucks. No, okay, so here's my suggestion. I would, okay. First thing I would do is wash the brush thoroughly. Wash it. Use if you don't have a brush cleaner, I would use like Dawn. Dawn is super soft, and it is they actually use it to clean oil off of animals. That's how soft it is. It's really good for hair and brush bristles, and it may help that split lay down. Now, gum Arabic is a way to go. I've heard another artist tell me that. And then I think I also saw you say something about hot water, which is what I normally do. I normally heat me some water up in the microwave, in a microwave proof container, and I will hold my brush into that hot water. Only the bristles. I don't submerge the ferrule or anything else, just the bristles, and I'll dip it for a few minutes, a couple times, and I typically don't have any issues. The hairs will normally stop falling out, not unless it's just a bad brush all the way around. And make no mistake, regardless of the branding, it happens. Let's see. Uh, Durant XL blocks. I have the regular ink tints blocks, which that review actually just came out. When was it? Yesterday? Yeah, that review is up on the channel. I haven't tried the XL blocks. I'm trying to justify buying them. I am. Of course, you guys know me. I'll probably find some way to justify it, but I'm really trying to. Keisha, I would love to sit in one of your classes. I bet you are a really cool teacher. I bet you are an amazing teacher. Okay. Okay. Mom black, dad is a German immigrant, so I'm all of the flavors. And let me tell you something. It ain't nothing like a good old mixed Kool-Aid. I love me a good old mixed Kool-Aid. Everybody be talking about what type of Kool-Aid you like. I like the red. What type of Kool-Aid you like? I like the purple, the grape. Mix them all together for me. That's what I say. Make it all a melting pot. Ain't nothing like a good old cup of cold mixed Kool-Aid. You go, girl. You go. I love that. Absolutely love it. I'll just be all up in it. I actually dated someone who was half black and half German. Their dad was a black American, an African American military soldier who was stationed in Germany and met that person's mom there. Um, and as in the case of Tisa, they were absolutely beautiful. It is a beautiful mixture. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake. All right, let's see if we dry up enough so we can go ahead and get this over with. I know y'all tired of hearing me run my mouth, and I'm just going on and on and on. Okay. Um, where we are so far, I guess I'm okay with for what it is, guys. I'm gonna be honest. This is not a masterpiece. I really wish that I had waited and painted this one just because I think it would have given you guys a much better look at the paints. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Military always let me hush. Let me hush. Military people, man. The kids, oh the kids, oh the kids. Okay, so I feel like what else do I need to do? Guys, tell me what I need to do. I'm chime in. Tell me what do you feel like I need to do to this? It's missing something. Something's not right about it. I'm gonna add some more grasses coming up on my little hill there in the front. Definitely, maybe bring some little dark grasses. Down. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let me do that and see what that gets me. Let me mix up some more black. We wrap this up. We are wrapping this up, and I'm not gonna. I'm not one of those people that go back and edit my lives. I know some people who do. I don't edit my lives. Whatever happened in my life is what's gonna be up. Whatever catastrophe and craziness that went on is gonna stay up. I think it's all a part of the fun. I'm gonna actually see if I can mix a less watery dark here. And I want this one, I want this super, super dark because it's right up on us. I need it to almost be black. And I do mean like a saturated black. I think that's about as dark as I'm gonna get it without it being a blue shade. I'm gonna dip the brush in just a little water so that paint will have flow to it. I'm gonna switch over without dipping it into water, without cleaning it, to the little liner brush I was using to put on. All right, let's see here. We have grasses coming all up out of here. Trying to load that brush up. And I'm just ever so lightly touching the paper to try to keep those wispy. Excuse me. I know you guys couldn't hear that, but excuse me anyway. Da 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 da. Okay. I think that added a little cuteness to it. So you can salvage a painting if you have to. Salvage it. I can't tell you how many paintings I have to salvage, honestly. All right, let's bring some of those little grasses up into the foreground here. Make some little grass clusters. It's got grasses all up here. On this little walk, this little area you can walk in. Here, you know, some of the grass is all up in there. Yeah. See? Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about this paint. So the one blue in here is definitely phthalo green blue shade. I'm sorry, phthalo blue, Lord. The one blue in here is definitely phthalo blue green shade. PP15:3. Um, so it mixes to make green leaning, and it's going to mix to make beautiful greens, which is why that little forest thing I showed you guys earlier. I was able to mix and make some beautiful greens for that. If you pay attention, you can see that the dark I've made here, because it is so phthalo blue heavy, it has a green leaning tint to it. Now, that works out for this particular painting. That may not work out in all cases. So, this is why a lot of artists will tell you it's sort of important to know a little bit, at least a little bit, about pigment information, how those pigments work in a paint, because it will help you in a lot of areas. One of those areas is becoming more familiar with the type of colors you're going to mix in the undertones that they'll have. So no matter how much I mix this, it's gonna have that green undertone because the blue that I'm using to mix it is a greenish based blue. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I hope what I'm saying is like that. So yeah, I hope what I said made sense to you guys. I'm gonna go in and try to give a more distinctive um, little line back here. Of course, we're gonna break that off with some white eventually. Um, and did I want to bring palm fronds down? No, I don't want to bring palm fronds down. I'm going to go ahead and do what I normally do. Did you guys, let me see. A line and art piece. Line and art piece. A line and art piece, Laura. Is that you mean ink and wash? Is that the same thing? I know I probably sound so dumb. But line and art piece. Is is that the same thing as ink and wash? Mmm. Let me see. Sun, orange. Mine did not turn out great. I used to darker colors, but I can always try again. There are two sides to our paper. You know what? There are. There are two sides to paper. Let me tell you, you don't make no mistakes. You have learning experiences. This painting is not turning out the greatest. It's not, and I'm okay with it. I'm going along with it, and I'm still having fun. You know why? One, I'm hanging out with you guys. Two, it's a learning experience. I now know what not to do the next time I decide to use these paints and do it live. How about that? Throwing a bird in the sky right there. We're gonna make him a little bit bigger so he will appear closer to us. So, how I make my birds? Somebody asked me this once before. My birds are variation of these. So really easy to do. The bigger the bird, the closer it's gonna seem like it's flying to you. The smaller the bird, the farther in the distance it's gonna seem. It's the same philosophy for painting anything else. Trust me. So here, I made him a little bit bigger because I want him to seem a little bit closer to the trees. I don't know. Maybe he just left out of one of them. Maybe he live in there. Maybe he running from something. So I'm gonna throw another one because they always come great in threes. We're gonna go between the trees, just above the horizon, and I'll make this one smaller, skinnier, so he'll seem farther away. We're gonna spread his wings out a little bit more though, because maybe he's a bigger farther away. Who knows? Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe they playing tag. I like to play tag, even as an adult. I love laser tag. Oh, somebody play laser tag with me. I want to shoot. I'm not a violent person. I promise I'm not. I just love laser tag. I'm a very competitive person. I love games and I love to win. I'm not gonna even tell. I'm not gonna get mad if I lose. I'm not a sore loser, but I'm going to give it 9,000% during the competition because I want to win. I want to win. Let's throw in another bird. Whoa, let's break all up in the top of the sky. What is he doing up there? Is he up there? Why are you up there? I don't know. He doing his thing. And he decided he wanted to be big and close to us. Like, dude, calm down. Hmm. He decided he not gonna calm down. He decided he gonna be just like, here I am, here I am. So there he is. All right. I think I'm gonna call that a. Oh nope, I'm not. You know me. I'm gonna dibble. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it a little bit, and I'm going to drop in a darkened line right along there. So to seem like a landmass, right? This is me cleaning up the picture. This is me saving face. This is me trying to make it look a little bit better so that this was not a complete waste of you guys' time and that the replay crew get something out of this. That's what this is. This was truly an adventure in babysitting. Y'all remember that movie? My 80s baby. My 80s and 90s babies. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. It's adventure in babysitting. I'm going to use that and just shadow ripple the water. Like so. Right? Just to make it look a little bit more like water there. Alright. And I'm gonna be honest. This comes with a little, and this is not a brag. I promise it's not. You guys know I don't do that bragging thing. But this comes with a little bit of experience, having a hot mess and being able to partially save it, right? Because that's what has gone on here. I was going in a hot mess direction, and I partially pulled it together. Let's see, what else do we want? We want to get. I really want that to blend out a little bit more, so a little too thick. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in right along that line and add. All right, that's it. I'm done. The only other thing we're gonna add to that is either some white gel pen or some bleed proof, whichever comes first. So, and then we're gonna wrap it on up. Let me check the comments again, because you guys know I like to talk to y'all. Looking at the sun, I think it looks great. Oh, thanks, Laura. Birds, we covered the birds. Tease, leave me alone. Leave me alone about my birds. You know I am. Name one landscape I've ever painted that does not have birds. I don't think there's one. I don't think there's one. I'm gonna go back and check my channel just to see. Cerulean is another underrated mixing color. It is. It's a beautiful color. I love cerulean blue actually, and of course someone already said M-gram cerulean blue. It is. It's lovely. It is. It is. Do you prefer PB35? See, I wanna. Okay, I am gonna get up real quick. I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna show you guys something. I'm gonna get up real quick. I need to run across the room to one of my travel bags because I want to grab this. I'm gonna show you guys this before we jump off. So this is, you know what this is. Most of you do. This is a Winsor& Newton travel box. This is actually the Cotman travel box. They do have one that has professional paints in it. So I have been putting together a video for almost a year with this thing. Guys, don't ask me when it's gonna come out. I got the old footage saved. I started shooting it last year. It was meant to be one of those videos where I put together a to-go bag on camera before leaving. Then I let you guys follow me out to do some plein air painting on location. Then we came back to look at the different things that we had used. That was the plan for the video. So the only part of the video that ever really got done was the introduction part where I put the bag together. Never quite got to go out on that painting adventure that I wanted to, not for this particular video anyway. So I'm saving that footage to become a part of an upcoming video. But what I did was to take the Cotman travel box, and I don't have experience with Winsor & Newton professional paints as far as the tubes or the half pans go. But I have a 10 count of Winsor & Newton professional paint sticks. Ironically enough, since we were talking about Daniel Smith paint sticks. And I initially took those 10 paint sticks and broke them down into a palette. You can find some videos on the channel where I use that professional paint stick palette. Well, when I got this box, it had Cotman paints in it, of course. So I decided what I wanted to do was to replace a lot of the Cotman colors with those professional paint sticks. And you can actually tell which ones are Cotman colors. It's just the ones down that row. But all of the ones that are along the side are actually Winsor & Newton professional colors. And I augmented the set with some Cotman because they do work well together regardless of what people say. As a matter of fact, when you line Cotman up next to Winsor & Newton Professional with some of the colors, it's really hard to tell which is which, and that's just the truth about it. So I use them together. Um, so and I brought this up because I was about to say I don't have much experience with a lot of different Winsor and Newton professional paints. I want to add more to the collection. I only have experience with the, if I'm not mistaken, this is a phthalo blue and an ultramarine. Those are the only two Winsor and Newton professional blues I've ever used. So I would be interested in trying more of their colors. But the video that's gonna show you how I put this little thing, how I put those colors together in there, along with going out on location to paint, will eventually come out as soon as I can finish putting all the parts together. I love this little paint box. This is like one of the best things invented since sliced bread. Just know that. This I do. I really, really like it. So where are we? We are adding in some bleed proof so we can wrap this on up. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed hanging out with me today. I have definitely enjoyed hanging out with you. We were able to paint a really easy, beginner friendly landscape that even for me started out a mess. Um, we got a chance to kind of experience the mixing, some of the mixing ability of um, this paint palette. I will be honest, I don't think that this video really did this palette any justice, because I'll say again, I had a much more enjoyable painting experience when I did the unboxing. I think that, a lot of this had to do with nerve. This is only my second live. It's so much easier to shoot a recorded video where you can go back and edit out things than it is to do a live because, well, it's live. I'm gonna go along the bank there. I'm just gonna hit and miss. That is really bright. It's kind of close. Really bright. That water line, that's real. I'm gonna dab that out on my on my paper towel. I'm gonna see if I can just a little bit here and use that on the wrist because that's actually kind of bright. And then I'm gonna bring some little ripples down. Grab my water, just hitting and miss a little bit, not much or anything. And it looks like the water is kind of hitting up against that bank a little bit there. I guess I could have sprayed a little right there. And then for the sun, it was going to be, where was it? It's like it was behind a tree, set off in a mountain here going down somewhere. It was somewhere on the page, like in this area. I don't know. And I want to go in and shade that just a little bit. I'm gonna, I'm gonna see if I can pick up a little bit of that orange that was left and just kind of dot it into that, like so, just to kill that white a little bit. There we go. Actually, it almost blended it. It about blended it into the background. It made it such a pastel color. Okay, let me go back in. Lord. Put a little more white. Because I do want it to stand out. You can barely see it back there, but yeah, that's what I wanted. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and sign this. I'm gonna check the comment section one last time. This has been fun, as was my first live. I actually signed it Ken instead of LeVar, but you know what? Since we was talking about my name, I'm gonna sign it Kenyatta. I sure am. Kenyatta. All right, let's check out comments. Where are we? We were talking about Wednesday, February 15. I love palm trees. I'm sure yours are not scared, Kisa. I'm sure they're not. Only use PB36. It's also Windsor Newton is so pretty. Highly recommended. Yeah, I like the Windsor Newtons that I have. I don't have much experience with Holbein paints. I've had them in and out my cart for a minute. I have a huge watercolor watercolor palette collection. I really, really do. But there are still so many brands out there that I have never laid my hands on. There's just so many paints on the market. It's ridiculous. I'm with you on that, Teasel. I'm with you on. I will choose Grumbacher Academy over Cotman any day. I like Cotman. Cotman is cool, but I would definitely choose Grumbacher Academy over Cotman without any hesitation at all. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. Considering the fact that I feel like I struggled a little bit with this one. Overall, the composition, I kind of had it in my head from looking at the reference photo. So I did get the effect that I was going for. Not definitely not the best painting I've ever done by any means, but I do feel like it's a really good beginner painting that any beginner could follow along with, and maybe even feel like they accomplished something once they're done with it. Hopefully. So I really appreciate that, Denise. Thank you. Cotton pens are okay, but you realize the difference when you upgrade. That's true. But see, that's the thing. Cotton is a student grade paint. There's going to be a major difference when you step up to a professional grade paint from it. But Cotton is not a bad place to start. And I'm tell you what though, and a lot of people are going to be shocked with this one. I would go with De La Roman and Aquafine personally. I just finished testing those paints, and I thoroughly tested those paints, and a lot of them are single pigment, a lot of them are transparent. They may not be as bright and punchy as some paints I'm used to, but I feel like they're a good workhorse. I'm not gonna say I like them more than Grumbacher Academy, but I do like them more than Cotman. Although De La Roni, you know, says like Roy Talons about their Van Gogh. Dana Rowley says the same. De La Roni says the same thing about their Aquafine. That they are definitely suggested for student use, but they use them to target professionals. And if you can believe that about Van Gogh, why can't you believe that about Aquafine? Let's see. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. I think it's because I got pens first and I'm a tube guy. Yeah. Okay, so when I first started my watercolor journey, guys, all I bought were pens. I was scared of tubes, and I'm gonna tell you why I was scared of tubes. Because when I first started, I hadn't quite gotten a grasp and learned what I needed to learn about the difference between student grade and professional, especially in the tubes and how they act. Student grade paints in the tube have a tendency to crack like nobody's business when you dry them down. And that seems to be more true about the more economical student grade paints. Now, of course, you can offset that by adding glycerin or honey, just a drop, to each of your half pans as you're panning up your student grade paints from a tube. But let's be honest. Let's be real honest with each other. When we go out and we spend money on a product, we don't want to have to really bring it home and doctor it up in order to use it. We just spent money on it. It's brand new coming out the box. We would want to have it work perfectly the first time. Now, I know that's a pipe dream. I know what I'm saying is not the common case. However, that doesn't change the fact that I feel like that's the way it should be. Professional grade paints in tubes don't tend to crack nearly as much when they dry down. Now, make no mistake, there are some professional grade paints that do crack when they dry down from a tube, and there's no doubt that they're professional grade. It really has to do with the formulation of paints. The more I got into pigment information, the more I got into the different type of binders that were in a paint, um, the more I got into the difference between professional and student, the longevity of a paint, how far you can make a tube stretch over a how many different palettes you could make from a tube versus having to use one pan from a set you got around. And I'm not one of those people that really like breaking down my sets unless I completely have to. Because of those things, I became more and more of a tube person. Now, on this end of things, this end of the spectrum where I'm trying to take on more of a production role with art, where I'm trying to actually start delving and looking into producing and making my own line of products, I have more appreciation for tube paints, how far they stretch, how many different venues they can be used in, specifically and especially when it comes to teaching. Because teachers, and I'm sure Tisa can attest to this, teachers, especially if they teach art, in this world we live in, where they're stressed for supplies, where the school system doesn't really want to help out with anything, where in a lot of cases parents might not want to help out, they are left to their own devices. And in those cases, on both the grade school level, the high school level, and even the collegiate level, tube paints can serve greatly because one set can stretch to make up so many different pan sets, and can be used in so many different ways. So it is more advantageous, in my opinion, at this point in my painting career, to buy pans than it is to buy to buy pans, to buy tubes, or to have a paint produced in a tube than it is in a half pan. But make no mistake, I will not turn a half pan set down at all. I'm not turning no watercolor paint down. I'm gonna try it all. If you give it to me, I'm gonna try it. If you ask me about it and I haven't tried it, then it's gonna pique my curiosity, and before you know it, you're gonna end up seeing it. I love watercolor. I am a watercolor addict. I'm an art addict, specifically water soluble products, especially watercolor. That's what it is. Guys, thank you for joining me today. I've babbled, I've talked enough. Yes, the cracking is annoying you. The cracking is annoying. Very, very, very much so. But again, throw you in a drop of glycerin. I'm gonna show you what I do. Let me see if I have it sitting here on the desk. So I went to the dollar store and I bought these little clear bottles. You get them like three in a pack, or maybe they come with it comes with like two of these, and then one of them with a sprayer on it. I think these are the three that came together, if I'm not mistaken. And it was at the Dollar Tree. It was only $1. So in the spray bottle, I have alcohol mixed with water. This is for my alcohol markers when I'm doing my gel printing, when I'm doing alcohol ink projects. This is what that's for. And then I also use this to like clean my stamps. So that's what that's for. And in this one is glycerin. It is. Let me see if I can grab that bottle. In this one is Now, this is soap expressions. It doesn't matter. It's 100% glycerin. Sometimes you can even find it in a grocery store food grade. This one I just happened to have from because a couple of years back, about a decade ago, I used to make handmade soap, cold cold uh, cold process handmade soap, sometimes hot process too, but mainly cold process. And I would use the glycerin. So I've had a lot of it in storage. So I just took some of that glycerin and put it in one of these little bottles, which has the little eyedropper at the top like that. So whenever I'm panning up a student grade paint from the tube, I'll just put one drop, just one, in the pan, and then put the paints in there and take a toothpick and mix it around. That's going to help because it's a humectant. It's going to help keep moisture in that paint. That's what causes them to crack because the moisture is drying out, and there's not anything in that formulation to help hold some of that moisture so that they don't crack. But if you add just a drop of glycerin or maybe even just a little drop of honey, although that one can be a little shaky, um, it will help and in a lot of cases prevent it from cracking at all. Okay. Okay. So let's see. I'm just looking at the last of the comment. All right, guys. That's gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off. Once all of this finished and it shares, once all of this finishes and it processes and it's ready for replay, tell a friend, come watch, share it so a friend can watch. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support that you've shown. Some of you are who I consider friend. You're so cool to me. You are. I wish I could meet a lot of you in person. I wish there was a way for us to have like, I don't know, maybe we should do a Facebook or a group live where we're all painting together. I think that'd be really cool. But anyway, go ahead, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Don't forget to run back over to the channel on tomorrow when the brand new video drops at 10 a.m. in the morning. That's where we are going to be doing the very first Patreon sponsored review video. Yes, my wonderful Patreon members, thanks to you and the survey that went up, I was able to go ahead and order the product that won that vote, and the review video has been done and completed, and it will be coming out on tomorrow. Catch it at 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I love you guys, and just keep painting and crafting.